Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Plus, this Monday and Tuesday, everything is 20% off in the merch store with promo code CYBER. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com, promo code CYBER.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at J Mark Football. You can find us on the X at Old Fashioned FB. And if you're not on YouTube, youtube.com/@old-fashioned football, and you're wondering who is this us people you're speaking of, I got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life before we start talking about fantasy football. Week 13 waiver wires. You can call her Mur. You can find her on the X at the Mur Mark. Mur, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Maybe I was spacing out here, but did you not even introduce yourself?
I did. You were spacing.
Okay, I was. Well, I'm also looking at stats.
Take it easy there, Space Cadet.
Spacing, looking at stats, looking at my lineups.
Can you
not my lineups, but seeing how I'm doing.
Can you believe it's week 13 already?
No.
That means, well, this coming week, I guess.
This coming week,
Yeah.
But that means this following week. We're already talking playoffs.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
You want to talk about playoffs? Yeah, depending on how your league is set up, they start week 14 or week 15, since there is a 18-week season in the NFL now. Some of them that start week 14 are if you have 2-week performances where you go against the same person 2 weeks and the best of that 2 weeks. Others, if it's just it all depends on how many people are in your league as well, I suppose. But your bracketology, if you will, starts on week 15. You going to make the playoffs?
I think in most leagues, yes.
We had a big battle, still ongoing battle this week of the number 1 team, Miranda, and the number 2 team, me, in Nick's league, and looks like you're going to pull it out.
I think so. My projection, you just harassed me all day on Thanksgiving, on Friday and yesterday, and just how close. The projection, my projection lead on you is getting smaller and smaller. And now,
because originally you were projected to destroy me.
Yeah, I'm back up to being projected 13 points more than you.
It was 30 or 40. So
I don't care.
I gained a little bit, but a win is a win.
We both have a player tonight.
Yeah. Who do we got? Oh yeah. If Jay Fields pops off, you're in trouble. That's all I'm saying.
That's upsetting to me because I need him to have a huge game.
Yeah, me too.
No, it's not the Dynasty League. I was thinking it was my Dynasty League.
No, I have him in the Dynasty League, I believe.
Okay. Well, I'm not playing you in the Dynasty League.
No.
I might lose in the Dynasty. I think I'll still be number 1 in the Dynasty League, but I might lose.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I checked that out, and I think you will still be number 1. I have been gaining ground trying to fight into the playoffs after a bad start in that league. So, that's an interesting one. It's a lot of good football players. I don't know if you happen to check out my projected score in that league this week, though.
No.
222 points. The next highest projection is 160. So my team popped off. They popped off big time. And like I said, at a good time because I need the points. I only have Justin Fields left, but it's over. Shout out to the chat. Josiah, woo! He says not the family league. He kicked my butt in the family league.
The family, let's just say, I think I'm going to be tied for last in the league in our family league.
You are actually, because your dad is going to beat you.
Yeah, and he was bottom. So no, I won't be tied. I will just be the bottom.
No, you'll be.
No, I'll be
tied
tied with him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Josiah put the hurt on me. He texted me this morning and said, "I thought you were supposed to be good at fantasy football," and I said, "Who told you that?"
The leagues that count, I'm solid.
Josiah, don't listen to her
league.
because every league
counts. But the high pressure, high stakes leagues, I'm doing good and I'm solid.
Makes it sound like we're in these deep rolling high stake leagues. Not so much, but that's all right. Yeah, Josiah beat me.
To me, maybe to me, it's a high stake.
That's fair. Everybody's stakes are different. Josiah is going to beat me 152 to 118. That's a crushing. It's week 13, or we're getting up to week 13. We got the Bears Vikings tonight, so we're going to try to get out of here soon, or not soon, but quickly, so that we can go watch our Bears. As you can see,
well, I was looking at you. I was going to call you out. Where's your Bears?
Blue and orange.
It's not Bears though, and that's like more rusty orange.
You know what?
And that's not even navy
blue. Here's how my day started. Actually, it's how my night went last night. So I don't want to hear about the fact that I didn't go all the way to the closet and put on Bears gear.
So sick of your injuries. You injured your foot again, and it is just, you've been walking on a cane today.
It is getting better. Last night was pretty bad. Whiskey.
And just remind me what you did. You slipped on our landscaping brick.
That's the only thing I can figure out. But it didn't hurt when I did that. But that's the only thing I could figure out of what happened.
And this is like, this is a different foot though. It's usually your right foot that you're always injuring, and now it's
time for the left one.
You're not going to be able to walk when you're 70.
By then we'll all be in little hover chairs anyways, so it's fine. We got injuries, we got studs and duds, sore throws, waivers. We're going to talk a little bit about the fantasy football playoff schedule. We're not going to go in depth, but tell you some people, and we're going to talk just briefly on whiskey, and we'll tell you why briefly. But before we get to that, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking Lip Service, correct? Is that the one you grabbed? That's the one I asked you to grab. I haven't tried it yet to confirm.
Yes.
By Savage and Cook. We are really excited, and if you'll see behind us on the shelf,
if I move my big arm out of the way, right
we have, well, no, not those. On the shelves
up here.
Yeah. We have other Savage and Cook.
You talk,
bottles.
I'll be Vanna White or whatever.
And to the left, we have. Okay, anyway. We will be having Dylan Carney from Savage and Cook, distiller.
Yes.
Savage and Cook on the show.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to talk with him again. We had him. He was one of our first guests. He was our first distiller guest on the show. And I'm excited to talk with him again because they have, as you can, old bottles, new bottles. They have relaunched with their very own whiskey. They hadn't been open long enough, or their location hadn't been distilling whiskey long enough to have their own. They do now. So
they were blending
other
premium whiskeys, and I love all of their former whiskeys.
I'm excited to see what they cooked up though.
Yes, we had these whiskeys delivered last week.
Yes.
Was it week already? Friday. The last few days have been.
Yeah, we had a lot of. I guess we should have said. We hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving because we're coming off of Thanksgiving.
It's Monday though, so it's like the Monday after a holiday, and it's like you reset and you're already on the grind. So, anyway.
Yes, shout out to the chat. My co-host on the NFL Gambling Pod, Moneyline Mac. Go check out all his work on NFL Gambling Podcast, and also on the college experience, the Big 10 or Big 12. Sorry, Big 10's the better one. Well, the Big 10's the better one, so I let that slip. Moneyline Mac checking in. Live dog in Minnesota tonight. Go Bears, he said. Kathy says, "Woot, go Bears." And of course, Josiah, Skull Vikings. Josiah, what does skull even mean? Tell me that.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
I'm surprised the Vikings are still allowed to be called Vikings. Because what are Vikings known for? Raping and pillaging.
Okay.
There's no reason that should be allowed, and Redskins is not. Just throwing that out there. Moneyline Mac, big Skins fan. Unfortunately for him. Should we talk a little injury report before we get on to?
Yeah, did we
other
finish
stuff?
with the whiskey? Did we
I
said
thought so.
Okay, but everybody tune in tomorrow. Well,
Tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow. Look for our episode to be released tomorrow. We'll be releasing another fun interview
Yes.
with Dylan Kearney.
It won't be a live one.
Mhm.
We'll have to start talking to distillers, see if they want to do a live, maybe field some questions. But yeah, this one won't be live, but it'll be on YouTube by that night, and it'll be on
Tomorrow night.
Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff by that night as well. So
Tomorrow. You keep saying that night. What?
tomorrow night.
It's tomorrow. That night is tomorrow.
That night is tomorrow. No, I want to try each of these again
Mm-hmm.
before we do that, so we can
So are we
see
gonna
what
do
it
a little
was.
tasting after this tonight?
We should, yeah. To celebrate the Bears' victory. Let's
Trying your old fashioned,
Oh, okay.
and you did good.
Thank you. Moneyline says, sick of the double standards. Give me my name back. Yeah, Indians, Redskins, much more appropriate than some raping and pillagers. Let's roll through the injury report real quick. It's not very big, thankfully, but let's roll through that real quick. You want to kick it off?
Yes. We have Baker Mayfield has an MRI on his ankle that was negative, and he did end up playing the rest of the game, so I don't think he's going to miss time.
Probably the first quarterback ever to be injured on the quarterback sneak. Everybody keeps talking about that's a dangerous play. Anyways,
another quarterback injury for you, update or injury for you. DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson.
yes.
Had a concussion, has a concussion. He's questionable.
Yeah. And I don't know if that matters or not. He's not looked great. PJ Walker hasn't looked great. I think the Browns are cooked. Running back Travis Etienne, he did finish the game, but he gave people a little bit of a scare with that chest injury. I would keep an eye on that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later.
And at wide receiver, Chris Olave has a concussion, and Justin Jefferson is expected to be back after their bye week.
Yeah.
Which is
this coming week.
Yes, this coming week. They play tonight.
Yeah.
We play tonight. The Bears and the Vikings both have a bye week.
Yes, right after they play Monday night. Apparently you need your gavel because you're hitting the desk an awful lot.
Sorry. Where is it?
You're all good.
I can never remember to bring that in here.
By the way, if you want to get down on the Bears money line and Justin Fields anytime touchdown, why don't you tell them where they can do that?
You can do that over on Bet365. Bet365 is the world's favorite sportsbook, trusted by over 88 million players worldwide. With props, sides, totals, live betting, Bet365 has you covered. And if you like boosts, you're going to love Bet365. If you like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same game parlay, plus they even have an early payout offer if your team goes up 17 points.
Yeah, sign up today and choose from two bonus offers. Either a $1,000 no sweat bet or bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365, or use the sign up link in our show bio. And like I said, take that Bears money line and parlay it with a Justin Fields anytime touchdown. And if you got a problem gambling, like we all do, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay. Should we talk a little about these fantasy football playoffs? Because they are coming up quickly. And it might be too late to make changes to your team unless different leagues work differently. Some have a trade deadline. Some don't. Dynasty, I don't believe, ever hit a trade deadline. The ones I'm in anyways, they don't, or they're late. So maybe you're going to be making the playoffs. It looks like you compete and you want to swing some of those picks to a team that bottom of the barrel. They don't have a chance and they're looking towards next year. You want to roll through quarterbacks? We'll do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got quarterbacks covered for us. And some of these, I feel like I'm just going to throw this out there before I start listing these quarterbacks off. Maybe in some of your deeper leagues or your super flex for some of these guys. But looking at playoff schedule and the matchups, these quarterbacks have a much better matchup going into these playoff weeks.
So you're saying, say the Ravens have a tough fantasy football playoff schedule for quarterbacks. You would not trade Lamar for one of these guys?
No. I would not.
Okay.
No, I would not give it. Don't trade your studs for these guys, but look for these guys. Like I said, deeper leagues, super flex. Cleveland, I think, has the easiest, best matchups for the playoffs, but you're probably not going to rely on DTR or PJ Walker. I'm just going to throw.
If you are relying on them, you likely aren't in the playoffs.
No.
I mean, let's be honest.
Then second is the Jets, which I maybe just in time for an Aaron Rodgers return. I think they're talking week 16 there.
He was never injured, so I mean, he can come back anytime.
Listen to you. Seriously though.
Yeah, from what I've heard, eyeing week 16, that would put you right in the middle of the playoffs just in time. Just like he's going to save the Jets season, he could save yours.
I'm staying away from him altogether. Detroit has the third best matchup for the playoffs. Jared Goff. This is a legit one. I feel like of the quarterbacks, this is legit.
Jared Goof?
Goof.
Yeah.
I often call him Jared Goof, but he does well.
Yeah, he started to struggle a little bit. I wonder if that Lion magic is running out, but we'll see.
I don't know.
Not with that easy quarterback schedule coming up, I guess.
No, I think that it's going to be good for him. And then fourth is Denver, Russell Wilson. Denver has been turning it around lately too.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the defense. It's not necessarily been Russ cooking, but yeah, it's been surprising.
They've been looking better.
Yeah.
And then 5, I just did 5 for you. Tampa, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, which I mean has looked decent. Baker's a dog, I think. I mean, he is a dog. He's never out of a game. He fights. He's feisty. You know, I will never forget when they wouldn't shake his hand in college, and then after he scores the first touchdown, he's there grabbing his dick on the sideline. Just hilarious. Just hilarious. I'm gonna go through the running backs as this spam number's calling me. Number 1, Chargers, Austin Eckler, who has struggled the past couple games, but he might bounce back right in time for your fantasy football playoffs.
He's somebody I never sit.
Yeah.
He has been starting, but I never sit.
You can't.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
And I am looking forward to this easier, because I will be. This is Nick's league where I am number 1, and I am going to beat you this week. And this is my Chargers stack. I have.
Yeah.
I've got Herbert. I've got Eckler. I've got Keenan Allen. I have Williams. It's all Chargers. Might as well just be the Chargers.
The Chargers.
But yeah, I am looking forward to having him have an easy schedule for these playoffs coming up.
Just for reference, this matchup we're speaking of, you're 25 ahead of me, and you have Vikings defense, and I have Fields. So if Fields rolls and scores a bunch of points, the Vikings defense points go down, I win. Lions, number 2 for fantasy football schedule. Gibbs and Monty set up to have a nice run, just like Jared Goof. 49ers, CMC. I mean, these are guys you're starting anyways. But if you don't have them, I doubt
nobody's
somebody
trading
would give
you
up.
CMC. I'm just going to say
and
this
likely,
right now.
Yeah, and likely if it's a dynasty, nobody's trading you Gibbs. But Monty, on the other hand, a little bit older, maybe he's not going to last in that Detroit offense like he did this year, next year, because they'll give more to Gibbs. That might be a piece that you could flip for maybe a second round pick or something in a dynasty, and he can help you out. Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, easy schedule, but the Patriots seem unwilling to run the ball for some reason. Mac Jones is shit. Bailey Zappi is shit. They should be running the ball. And Falcons, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Again, probably not players somebody will trade away unless it's Algier. Nobody's trading Bijan away. You want to do wide receivers?
I sure do.
All right.
I have Seattle with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett at number 1. Denver. We talked about Russ Wilson for quarterbacks has an easy schedule. Their wide receivers also. So I don't know if this their ease of schedule is going to help them continue to win.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, got to remember that fantasy football ease of schedule doesn't necessarily mean they'll win games, but yeah,
I know. Well, I know a lot of
points,
Denver fans who think they're going all the way,
making the playoffs. I don't think they have the team.
I've heard even Super Bowl talk.
Wow,
I know.
Is that from Mr. Takimoto?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right.
Anyway, yeah, you got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy there for Denver. For third ease of schedule here, I have Dallas. So that's CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
I
Who's
don't
looked
have
better
any
recently.
piece of Dallas in fantasy football in
I
any
avoid
of
them
my
like the
leagues.
plague.
I avoid them too.
Yeah.
They're a team I completely avoided. So I have okay, it is what it is, but I'm not going after them.
Right.
But they do have an easy schedule. And for the Jets is number 4 on my list. So that's looking at Garrett Wilson.
Rodgers comes back, and Garrett Wilson suddenly wide receiver 1.
Whatever. No.
They've been practicing behind the scenes because he's not injured. Anyways, go on.
Look at you. You're normally it's me who's
I know.
throwing all this shade out there and conspiracies. Anyway, number 5, we've got the Raiders. So Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. They've been feisty recently. The Raiders have.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised they went up 14-0 on the Chiefs, but that didn't last very long. Tight ends. I'll go through those. Detroit, your guy, Sam Laporta, the easiest fantasy football schedule. So they got quarterback, wide receiver, and tight end. Is that right? Not wide receiver, quarterback, running back, and tight end. So stack your Detroit players. Cleveland's David Njoku. I know it's tough with who's throwing to him, but he has the second easiest schedule. Minnesota's TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, you're starting him, but maybe you can get him in a trade. The Colts. Who are you going to trade for? Mo Alley Cox? I don't think so.
I think that one on your list is irrelevant.
Kylan Granson or whatever. No. And then the Jets, Tyler Conklin. Again, Rodgers is back, and Conklin scoring you points.
Can't support.
He's been very relevant.
I get that the Jets have good matchups for these positions, but I just can't get behind it.
Conklin's been pretty relevant for the most part. So not like a huge amount of points, but he's been getting enough, I would say. We got a question in the chat real quick. We're going to answer. Shout out to Josh. What's up, man? Would you trade Jamar, Hall, Keaton Mitchell, and Khalil Herbert for Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson? 16 team PPR roster. He's got Will Levis, CMC, Kamara, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, likely Breece Hall. Herbert is on his bench. So would you trade Jamar Chase, Breece Hall, Keaton Mitchell, and Khalil Herbert for Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson? Yeah, I think so. You're getting the two of the best receivers. I know Justin Jefferson's been injured. He's going to be back after the bye week. So in the playoffs, you're going to have two of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate that. I know getting rid of Jamar Chase is hard, but with Browning, Jake Browning throwing the ball now instead of Joe Burrow, geez. Mind blank. Yeah. Keaton Mitchell, he's still in a timeshare with Gus Bus. Khalil Herbert, he's going to get a lot of carries, but still, you got Herbert, Foreman, Fields. I mean, you got a lot. Roschon Johnson. A lot of guys touching the ball there. So I like that trade. He also says, would you also do Herbert and Jamar for JJ? So I'm assuming that's Khalil Herbert and Jamar Chase for Justin Jefferson.
I liked getting both of them.
I do too. I like getting Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson. I know you probably feel like you're giving up too much, but I think at this point with the injury, Breece Hall was in there. I didn't mention. That's the part that hurts. But you still have CMC and Kamara.
Yeah, I think you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. I would do it and get those good wide receivers.
A playoff team of CMC, Kamara, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen has been my guy lately. He's just been fire for me.
You got Will Levis. I mean, you'd like to see a better quarterback, but that's okay. And Isaiah Likely, who is filling in for
you would be making up for it having Keenan Allen and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, no doubt. I like that trade. Let's do a little Sir Throws a Lot real quick before we take a break here, which you know what that means.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
Every time, Justin.
Get you every time.
Every time. Okay. This week, our Sir
Jim Miller.
Our Sir Throws a Lot actually makes sense. It's Josh Allen. So far, anyways. I mean, it could be. I don't think it's going to be Fields, so it's not going to be him.
I don't think it'll be Josh Dobbs either. But
no. But with 51 pass attempts in a loss to the Eagles, which they led most of the game.
Calm down
Sorry.
over there.
I know. He threw for 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also ran for 2 touchdowns. That game was an awesome game to watch.
It was a lot of fun.
And credit to the Eagles for beating the Chiefs and Bills back to back. Now they have the 49ers. It does look like the Bills firing their offensive coordinator has helped the offense wake up, snap out of it.
Yeah. 2 high-scoring games in a row. One against Jets. I know you say it's the Jets, but Jets still have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And then this shootout with the Eagles. So, yeah, I think Eagles get crushed next week, though, don't you, by the Niners?
Yeah.
I think so. Should we talk a little bit before we keep going about PrizePicks? If you want to play along some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, I don't know them, but maybe you do. You can find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks is really simple to play. You make picks, you submit your entry in less than 60 seconds, and it's all based on player projections. Easy peasy. Plus, they offer a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits in the first half and does not return, that player's rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy like that. They got quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. And that's what makes it the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Plus, they offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. And don't forget, every Whiskey Wednesday, we're giving out our picks on our Twitter, or I guess X, at Old Fashioned FB, or our Instagram. We're doing them on both. And they offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And so let's take a look at this game tonight. We already tweeted this out, but here's my entry. Jay Fields won. That's Justin Fields. More than 55.5 rushing yards and more than 19.5 fantasy points. I like both of them. DJ Moore, more than 65.5 receiving yards. Tyler Scott, they've been getting him involved here and there. It's usually only a couple catches, but that's all he's going to need for more than 6.5 receiving yards. And then Alexander Madison, he's been losing some time to Ty Chandler. The Bears defense has gotten better at stopping the run. They're like 3rd in DVOA against stopping the run. So Alexander Madison less than 43.5. You see 43.5 on your screen. We're already setting the market because that has dropped to 42.5. So just go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and use code SGPN for our first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/SGPN, code SGPN.
We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets' revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value.
Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets.
Now, back to old-fashioned football.
All right, now back to, you heard the man, now back to old-fashioned football. We got a question in the chat from Mr. Nick Fortune. If one of you wins in my fantasy football league, will the championship belt be displayed in the background? Yes, Nick, when I win, it absolutely will be.
No, wait, whoa. When I win.
That's what I said, when I win.
I've been how long have I been the #1 in this league?
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Are you sure it hasn't been longer than 3 weeks?
I think we
Pretty
were
sure,
tied
no,
for a long time.
No, I don't think we Nick, I need you to fact check this. I'm pretty sure I've been dominating for most of the
one
season.
Game ahead of me.
I don't care. You've been catching up.
I wonder who scored
I'm still
more
winning.
points. Nick also says no TJ Hawkinson prop bet. For shame. Fortune, welcome to the chat. You've been ahead for 4 weeks. So
going on 5 after today.
Yes. And how many weeks have we played?
But I've been right there.
I've just
secured first place for 4 weeks in a row.
I'm just making the argument that
My
I was in
team
it
is
for
on
the rest.
fire. I have players on my bench who I have in this league.
Whoa, calm down over there.
I know you're making me spill my old fashioned. In this league, I have players on my bench that it's really hard to like. I have a stacked team.
You do have a good
My
team.
bench is on fire.
You also have the most points scored, so I will give
so
you
there
that.
you go.
I have more
You
points
you
scored
tried to
against me.
say that you had more points.
No, I
scored
said
than
I
me.
wanted to look. I didn't
Yeah,
try to
no,
say.
no. I knew where you were going with it. You wanted to throw out that you've scored more than me,
I
and you
thought
haven't.
maybe I
I
had,
have scored the most points in the league.
but I admitted it. I gave it to you. Let's talk about some studs.
If
and
you wouldn't have,
duds.
Nick would have.
Right.
So-
Let's talk a little studs and duds. You want to take care of the studs like you normally do?
Yeah.
You always take care of me.
All right, at quarterback, we already talked about it. He was our Sir Throws a lot so far this week. Josh Allen was projected 24.7 points, finished with a whopping 43.05. Exciting numbers. Exciting to see him putting those out. Jordan Love, which I don't like.
Are you jumping on the love train?
No.
No.
He was projected 19.5, finished with 29.3. We watched that game. I did not expect him to do as well as he did.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody did.
No.
I mean, Lions were 7.5 point favorites for a reason.
Yeah,
but
it was a disappointing game because, I mean,
credit to Matt LaFleur and the Packers, though. They had a good game plan. They dominated
Mhm.
all three aspects of the game. Yeah, they did well.
yes. Yeah. Oh my
Wow,
gosh. I'm
calm
so
down.
sorry. Sorry to everybody listening.
There went your eardrum.
I was outside for like 2.5 hours putting up Christmas lights right before this. So,
Anyways,
okay. Kyron Williams, we're doing running backs now. He was projected 13.9, finished with 35.4. Bijan Robinson projected 13.2 and put up 25.8. At wide receiver, we have Mike Evans, who's projected 12.8 and put up 22 points. And Rasheed Rice, I liked to see this one. I needed this one. Projected 7.3, ended with 20.7.
you have him in the dynasty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like the one receiver you can sort of count. Justin Watson's starting to get some more, but Rasheed's like the one receiver that you can kind of
He's had
count on
some
doing
misses,
okay.
like some.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been in that league. I've been starting him pretty
Yeah.
regularly.
Yep. We've also been starting him in the listener league,
Listener
the
league,
Keeper's
which
Heart
we are
Bowl, because we couldn't afford anybody else because you wanted to spend so much
We
money.
don't need to keep going over
on
this.
Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes.
It was a
and Cooper
bad
Kupp.
idea to have us be partners on a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just not good.
Okay. Move on.
But tight end, Tyler Higbee projected 5.1, finished with 17.4, and Pat Freiermuth, I don't feel like he's a tight end we've really talked about at all.
Well, he's been on IR. This is his first game
Well,
back.
it
Welcome
was
back,
his
Pat.
first game back.
Yeah.
I don't have him in any of my leagues, so
Yeah.
I
First
wasn't
game
tracking
back.
that. Yes, first game
Activated
back.
off injured reserve. The Steelers,
Well-
fresh off of firing Matt Canada. That reminds me of something we didn't talk about, but go on. Talk about Pat real quick.
I think I know where you're going with this. Yes, Freiermuth projected 6.3, put up 16.5.
Yeah. Meant to say this at the injury report. It's not an injury, but Frank Reich was fired. I don't think that's going to change anything for the Panthers. They suck. They don't have the talent. Bryce Young sucks. Frank Reich really got a bad rap. A lot of reports saying he wanted to draft CJ Stroud, but ownership said, no, we're drafting Bryce Young. Obviously, CJ Stroud, he's, I think, the 6th or 7th in the MVP race right now. For MVP odds, that is very impressive for a rookie, obviously, to be in the MVP race. And yeah, he's dominated.
He's also
And Bryce
ranked among quarterbacks in general for fantasy.
And Bryce Young has sucked. So, it is what it is. Bad rap for Frank Reich. So I think he's probably happy to be out of there. Let's talk about some duds like Bryce Young. Mac Jones projected 14.4, finished with 0.45. This Patriots team, this is the worst Patriots team I think we've seen like our lifetime.
Yeah, I'm blaming Mac Jones. If
Probably
I
not in
lose
our
in my
lifetime,
dynasty league, I'm blaming Mac Jones. I had to play him.
Ooh, ouch.
I know.
Geno Smith, again, the Quarterbacks going against the Niners now that they're healthy, not paying off. Geno Smith was projected 19.6, finished with 9.1. Running backs, Gus Edwards. This one hurt me a little bit, but it's in a league that it's pretty much over for me anyways. 10.7 was his projection, finished with 4.2. James Conner projected 13.8. The Cardinals got routed by the Rams. He finished with 5.2. Wide receivers, again, this we just talked about how Niners stopping people. DK Metcalf projected 13.3. They held him to 4.7. Another guy that got 4.7, Puka Nacua. He got 4.7. He's projected 11.5. Then George Kittle. Kittle and bits. The Niners won.
Is Kittle is he fading out?
I don't think so. I just think Brock Purdy is getting good enough that he's utilizing a lot of people. So Ayuk and Debo are being featured. Obviously, CMC. There's a lot of mouths to feed, and so sometimes that equates to Kittle being
Kittle's
the odd man out.
He's
been good,
years?
but he's been hit and miss.
I know. I was looking at that, like how many years in a row he's been top 4 for tight end
without scoring a lot of touchdowns too, which is impressive.
And I just felt like that's gotta. I don't know.
Nick Fortune pointing out. Kittle is a team player, not a fantasy football stud all the time. Yeah,
he used to be but I'm serious. If you had Kittle, like you were good, you were set at tight end, and it's not necessarily the case this year.
You look up his rank. I think he's better than you think. He's just had some dud weeks. Anyways, he was projected 10.8, finished 3.4, and then Dalton Schultz. Texans had a good game, but it was not thanks to Dalton Schultz. He was projected 8.9, finished with 0.7.
Okay.
Kathy pointing out he is a blocker most of the time. Yeah, that's one of the things about Iowa tight ends. You don't only get a pass catcher, you get a really solid run blocker. He's tight end number 3.
He is, but like he's put up 1.6, 2.4.
Yeah, he's had some dud games.
Yeah,
for sure.
He has, and that's not typical of him.
Yeah. No, it's
because if you have Kittle, you're starting Kittle. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you start Kittle always, and the amount of dud games. This is like his.
Oh,
sorry, I kicked your bad foot. I'm sorry. It's like his 6th dud game.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of impressive that he's ranked 3rd because that shows you how many good games.
I know, which is why you start him because if you can get 30 points out of him, why would you don't want that on your bench?
His boom is very boom.
Yes, high ceiling.
Is it just me? Is my scent off, or is the dog farting up a storm in this room? Like I keep getting whiff of dog fart, and it's bad. Like
her stomach's been hurting.
I know she got too many Thanksgiving things.
Bites and everything. Yes. But I am stuffed up from being outside because it was like 30 degrees, but with a real feel of like 18 out there. So
yeah, Nick Fortune says it's him. George Play, welcome back. He
says, keep it to yourself, please.
Yeah, George Play, welcome back. He says, unbelievable that Trent Irwin got more yards than Kupp. I was considering dropping him. Yeah, it was definitely a crazy week. I wonder how much of that was Kupp being a little bit limited by his ankle injury, but yeah, I don't know. It was a crazy week of fantasy football. That's what I love about fantasy football, though. It is so unpredictable. I know we pop on this podcast. We try our hardest to predict guys that are going to pop off. We try our hardest to predict who you should start, who you should sit. But I've said for years and years, fantasy football is a fickle bitch, and it will screw you at the worst of times. And but it makes it interesting. It's just fun. I love the strategy and the unpredictableness.
Is it fun when you're swearing up a storm? Like
absolutely,
because you're
absolutely.
Losing.
That's just because of the passion for it.
No,
like,
I know.
If you didn't care about
that
it.
You don't on those days where you're so pissed. You're not having fun. You're pissed.
There are days where it's not fun. You are correct. But like in the big money league where I'm losing, that was my most recent, like getting pissed off. Should have won the game, been losing. And then that night I turn around and I get 2 third-round picks from trades. And now I'm sitting on a 1st, a 2nd, and 3 third-rounders going into next year. And I feel really good about that. It's a 3-person keeper or 3-keeper league. You can only keep 3 people. So it's not a dynasty. So
we talked about this.
Yeah.
Are you going to follow what I
have so many keeper options, but one of the ones we talked about was Fields or Stroud.
And I honestly think you need to keep Stroud.
I got to see how Fields does the rest of this year. And I got to see what they do with Fields. Is Fields going to be a Bear? Are they going to continue to build around him? Is he going to be gone? Is Jim Harbaugh coming to Chicago? If so, then I think I absolutely will
But
take Fields.
Didn't you say that it's going to be a top pick for you if you keep Fields? What round?
No, it's going to be like 11th round or 12th
Oh,
round.
for some reason, I thought you said it was higher than that.
No.
But I still think that Stroud is.
Stroud would be a 16th round keeper.
He's currently, we already said this. He's currently ranked 6th among
Yeah.
quarterbacks, and
It's hard to gauge Fields since he got hurt, but
I just think Stroud is a
think about.
stud.
A lot to think about. Should we talk about our waiver wires?
We should. Let's get to it.
All right. Why don't we tell everybody who's on a bye week this week?
We've got the Bills, the Bears, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Giants, and the Ravens. Did I say 6?
Bills, Bears, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, Ravens.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot. Do you want to kick it off for us?
Yes. So at quarterback, we already talked about him earlier. Baker Mayfield is only rostered in 49% of leagues. He's one of the players, like we just talked about, having an easier playoff schedule. So if you're worried about your quarterback, I think that he can bring value just because of that. However, he's also had, he's had a good year. Only 3 games under 200 passing yards and 6 games with multiple touchdowns. He also, like in the passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
He also accumulated rushing yards in every game.
Yeah, I think people are quick to say Baker Mayfield, but
And he's got pass catchers like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
yeah,
they can blow up at any game.
like I said, he's got that dog in him. He's a
Mhm.
dog. Yeah, no, I agree. Again, just like last week, we're not giving out fab, right?
No.
Because at this
It's-
point, you
I'm
need to
done with
blow your
fab.
fab if you need it. If you need the position, you need to blow your fab,
Mhm.
or you know what you have and what you need to spend. So yeah, at this point, I really don't think there's any point in discussing fab because we're probably all in so many different places at what we have left, or you likely don't have much at all. So, spend what you need to spend. I'm going to talk about a guy. You said you weren't on the love train. Oh, this
you
hurts
on
me
it?
so much. It hurts me so much, but Jordan Love rostered in 48%. We're up to 50 quarterbacks that have started the game.
It was 64 last year.
Yep. At this point last year, it was 55, I think I read.
So we're
at
almost there.
We're getting
I
close.
think we need to have a bet. Are we going to surpass the
Right.
64 quarterbacks that started last year?
I'm going to say no. I think it's going to fall
You-
just shy.
Just shy of
Yep.
64?
Yeah.
Above 60? Do you think
Let's
we're going to
see.
get 10
We're
more?
at 50. It's so hard to predict injuries.
know.
It's like I'm wishing injuries on people if I say yes.
Or pulling? Do you think they're just going to get Jones out of there?
Well, one of the things that can go in, yeah. I think Mac Jones's days are limited. That's
so
for sure. So that might
not
be
him
one.
getting injured, just getting him
And
out
then-
of there.
Yeah, and then you get to week 18, like your Chiefs and Ravens, they may be already at their playoff seed, and
And
they
so
sit
they're
their
not.
studs.
They're gonna sit Mahomes. Like
Yeah.
you got to look at that too.
Right.
We don't have to be negative. Like
Right.
injuries. Let's just think about the quarterbacks who are just sucking it up right now, and like Mac Jones.
Yeah.
And, sorry, Cody, not sorry. And think about
I think he probably agrees.
at this point he should. He
Yeah.
did not agree with us
I mean,
before.
I'm fairly certain that Mr. Tommy DeVito, have you seen his celebration? They
Mm-mm.
do this like you're an Italian. They don't high five. They do this to see Tommy DeVito. I think he has more wins now than Mac Jones does this year, which is a sad stat, really. Anyways, Jordan Love, we're up to 50
Mhm.
starting quarterbacks that have
We
started
didn't
the
say
game
for
this year.
betting. We have to bet. Think about it, and we're gonna come back to it at the end of the show because we're
Okay.
betting.
All right. Well, out of the 50 that have started, Jordan Love, he's up to QB 11, which means in 12-person leagues, he should be rostered and
relevant.
probably started.
And he's 48%. He's under 50% roster.
But he's QB 11. He just put in his best performance of the year against Detroit. He does have KC next, which does have a strong defense, but he closes the season against the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Bears. That's all teams he can probably put points up on. The offense is running better in the last 5 games. He's thrown for over 225 yards in each. In the last 3, he has more than 2 touchdowns per game. And the Packers don't look now. I hate it. It makes me sick to my stomach, but they're pushing for a wild card spot. There's a possibility that they traded Aaron Rodgers
Gross.
and they make the playoffs.
Gross.
I agree. Is Jordan Love the guy? I don't know, but he could help you in the fantasy football playoffs because he's helping them get there. So Jordan Love, I don't like it. I don't like it. To the easy schedule: Giants, Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, and Bears. Josiah throwing some shade, says especially the Bears. Thanks, Josiah.
Thanks.
You're getting coal for Christmas. Just
Yeah.
a big old lump of coal. Anyways, let's talk about running backs.
All right. Ernest Johnson. I think this especially goes for ETN managers. ETN kind of scared us last week when he left the game with a chest injury. He did end up coming back in. However, I was surprised to see how much work Ernest Johnson got in the game.
Yeah.
When he was off the field. So we thought Tank Bigsby would be the backup, but Johnson carried the ball 7 times to Bigsby's 1. He also had a catch for 42 yards on a screenplay.
Yeah, we were listening to that on our car ride home, and I guess I forgot Ernest Johnson was part of the Jags because I think of Travis Etienne and rookie Tank Bigsby, and they were like Johnson, blah, blah. They were going crazy because it was on his 42-yard play, and I go, "Is that Duke Johnson? Who the hell are they talking about?" And then they said they Ernest, but yeah, it was surprising.
So anyway, I think Johnson is more of a stash, but if you have Etienne, who is a top 5 running back right now, you may want to handcuff Johnson in case something happens prior to playoffs, since he's obviously the one who got the ball.
It seemed like the guy for sure. And he seemed to do okay. I mean, he wasn't as good as ETN, but running was tough going against that Texans defense anyways. I'm going to talk about Samaje Perine, who continues to get work in this Broncos offense that we talked about. They're doing better. Now, Javonte Williams is obviously their starter. But if you look at the numbers here, Williams had 18 carries for 65 yards. Perine had 7 for 55 yards, and he got the touchdown. He was also utilized in the passing game. He only had 1 catch this last game, but he does tend to have some games where he gets a lot of catches, especially if they're in 3rd down distance or they're behind. They tend to use him. Perine's a borderline flex if they continue to give him close to 10 touches a game. If he's turning his 7 carries into 55 yards and getting used in the red zone and catching passes, that's borderline flex play, especially if you're dealing with injuries, you know? So, yeah, Samaje Perine. Can't believe we're talking positively of the Broncos. Look, you can attest to the fact that at the beginning of the year before the season started, I was high on the Broncos. I thought Sean Payton coming to town, I thought all their playmakers were going to do better. It did not start that way. I think they lost the first 3. But now look out. I know they're not putting up huge fantasy football points, but they are winning games.
If you believe my many coworkers in Denver, they're going to the playoffs.
Speaking of Denver,
yes.
Heard back, we are working on getting Breckenridge Distillery on the pod. We heard back from them today. We're in some discussions, so look forward to that. I hope we can get them on to talk a little football. They're big Broncos fans, and a little whiskey.
Right. I'm excited. All right. Wide receivers. We have Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, who is only rostered in 11% of leagues.
Sorry, Tommy DeVito.
And I know it sounds gross, but yesterday it suddenly looked like Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito
had a connection with Jalen Hyatt. Hyatt had 6 targets. He caught 5 of those for 109 yards. It was his best game all year, and I think DeVito is going to continue to look his way. Plus, Hyatt is a rookie who could be picked up and stashed in keeper leagues. I always look for that. Like, you know me, I'm always looking for next year. Who would be a good pickup for me right now?
Yes.
Looking into next year.
Agreed. I always kind of think of, my dad is a fairly good pool player. And when he taught me to pool, he told me you always got to think 2 or 3 shots ahead. And I've always taken that to fantasy football. You always, even if you're winning your league, you always got to think to next year. You always got to think of what your pieces could become going into the following year, whether it's dynasty, a keeper league, whatever. So yeah, I 100% agree. Hyatt being the rookie, that offense you would hope gets better. I mean, they got to do something, right? They weren't that great this year. They're getting better. And it's weird that it's Tommy DeVito that's bringing them out. But yeah, no, Tommy DeVito. Mine's Greg Dortch, another guy that people probably forgot about, which is witnessed by his real quick, Kathy Mark chiming in. Maybe that's mom for those of you that don't know. Maybe DeVito is a spicy meatball. He's added some spice and life to that. I mean, this is a team that they lost Dan Jones. They could have easily tanked, and they're 2 games behind in the wild card race because the NFC is not that good. They've only won 4 games, but right now I believe the 7th wild card spot is going to a six game team. Better quit messing with that. Anyways, Greg Dortch is mine. Forgotten about, like I said, as evidenced by the fact that he's rostered in 8% of leagues, but 2 games in a row with Kyler Murray and Greg Dortch, it looks like he's the receiver with the most targets. Now, I know Trey McBride is the one getting the most targets, but the receiver. This happened last year with Kyler at quarterback too. Greg Dortch all of a sudden came out of nowhere, and you have Marquise Brown and these guys, and you think, but it's Greg Dortch that's getting the ball. Kyler likes him for some reason. He likes throwing in the ball. This is only his second season, I believe. 2 weeks ago, targeted 8 times. He caught 6 of those for 76 yards. This week, not as good. He only caught 3, but he was targeted 9 times. 9 times for 27 yards.
I want to watch that movie now.
Yeah.
You said something else the other day that reminded me of that movie.
Well, what did I
I
say?
don't know. We were playing cribbage with your parents.
We probably said 9 times.
No, we didn't say 9 times.
Well, anyways, he did get in the end zone this week. So 3 catches, 27 yards, and a touchdown. He honestly looks like one of Kyler's favorite receivers to throw to. They're going to throw the ball, and so I expect that to continue. So he could add some value at a flex piece for you.
All right. Let's talk about these tight ends we got for you.
Yeah.
Sorry again. I think I'm going to keep being stuffed up tonight. I'm still cold to my core from being out there.
It probably has nothing to do with the cold. We probably caught the crud from your mom.
Oh my God. No. Okay. Don't jinx us.
Stop kicking that foot.
I'm so sorry. Move your foot.
There's no other
I
place
move
my
too
foot
much.
can
I
go.
fidget. Kick my feet.
Your dad
everything.
kept making jokes about Rona. We get together. We're probably passing Rona around, and then your mom gets really sick. So
my dad was.
Thanks,
was
Mike,
getting
for
sick
jinxing
too.
us.
I know, but mom, she sounds awful. Poor mom.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes.
Where were we
going?
Tight ends. Tight ends. Okay. Oh, I was talking about how cold I was. I'm still cold. My feet are cold. My butt still feels cold.
I'll warm it for you.
I feel like my legs and my butt just froze out there.
And on that note, let's talk about your tight end.
Let's talk about it. Pat Freiermuth. He was activated off the injured reserve, like you talked about. Totally just went over my head with that.
Nobody can blame you for forgetting about Steelers playmakers because
I know, but he's on my tight end list for waiver, for looking up. For waivers. Jesus.
Calm down over there.
Okay, he's only rostered in 48% of leagues, by the way. So you have over a 50% chance that he's available for you. And it looked like, with him just coming back, he just didn't miss a beat with the offense. He had 9 catches on 11 targets for 120 yards, and he looked
really uncoverable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He led the team in catches and yards and seemed to help the running game with his blocking abilities, which means I think he's going to be on the field more often because of that.
Oh yeah.
He's at least worth a flyer as the Steelers continue to push for a playoff. For the playoffs.
Turns out
what is the playoff?
For playoffs? You want to talk about the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I made a trade to get a tight end. All I had to do was pick up Pat Freiermuth, I guess, because he came in looking good. Yeah, I don't know that. I was trying to look it up. My phone's not working. I think the next closest receiver only had 4 catches, so he had 9. So that is pretty impressive. Your sick mother checking in says thanks, Mike, because we're blaming Mike for it. He jinxed us. I'm telling you.
He was. We're at our end of the team. He's just talking about
COVID.
COVID. I'm just like, why, Dad?
He kept making jokes about passing COVID around, and I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Oh yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
I'm going to talk about
nobody was feeling horrible,
right?
And then
going to talk about my tight end. He's rostered in 17.4% of leagues, and it's Tyler Conklin. I know he's not putting up big numbers, but he's been pretty consistent at getting at least 5 points. And sometimes that's all you can hope to count on for your tight end if you don't have your Travis Kelce or your TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, George Kittle. Sometimes, I mean, he put up more points than George Kittle. And we've already talked about how he's got an easier playoff schedule. The Jets do. Plus, Aaron Rodgers never injured, coming back. And Jets are a mess. I know you don't want to pick up a Jets player, but I get it. But Conklin, fantasy football playoffs, that could pay off, especially if you have the depth on your bench. Throw him in there just in case your tight end gets injured. I mean, we saw Mark Andrews. He's on injured reserve. Likely won't be back for the fantasy football playoffs. He may be back for the actual NFL playoffs, but maybe you have a guy that, knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe you got a tight end that gets injured. Boom, you got Tyler Conklin. You can throw in there. You can do worse than that. Yeah. We're not talking whiskey because, like we said,
we have Dylan Carney joining us tomorrow. Really excited to have him back with us and to try. He'll walk us through bottles you see behind us.
Yeah.
We've got their cask finished rye whiskey, their cask finished bourbon. They
won't be able to hear you. Cask finished rye whiskey.
Cask finished rye whiskey.
Yes.
Their cask finished bourbon.
And their American whiskey.
Yes.
America.
Yeah. One thing I love about Savage and Cook is that they finished their whiskeys in wine barrels, different wine barrels.
Savage and Cook, owned by Dave Finney, who is a very famous winemaker. Prisoner wine, right? Prisoner. And so yeah, that's one of the unique things that he wanted to bring to that they'll always be finished in those wine barrels. So it'll be interesting to talk with Dylan to kind of get like how they've changed what they're finishing in, how they decided those. I'm really curious to know, like, how different are these from those as far as them making it, you know?
Well, I don't know. If I did know, I forgot where they sourced.
I don't think they elaborated.
I don't think they elaborated.
I don't think they will.
Where they sourced their whiskeys that they blended for their original releases,
right? While
they were aging their own whiskey.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited because they know what they're doing, especially with the stuff that they originally released. It's all very good. This is going to be just.
And I have some major questions. First of all, if you didn't hear the first one, there's a fun story about Scottie Pippen, because Scottie Pippen has a whiskey with them.
We talked a lot of absinthe on our original interview with Dylan.
Yeah, we did. That's for sure. But I'm interested to talk about the Scottie Pippen thing again, because it's a really fun story. You guys will like it, I believe. And then I'm curious to know if that's changing, because I imagine that was sourced.
It would have had to have been.
So I'm curious if they're changing that up or if it's going to stay the same. I'm sure Scotty has some say in that too, but I'm a little curious on that. Digits Bourbon is his. We got a question before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Bears game about to start. We will answer this question though. Jake Room says, should I trade Saquon for Josh Jacobs? That is a really tough question.
Whose opinion do you want here? Both of ours.
Because you're going to say Josh Jacobs.
I'm probably going to say Josh Jacobs.
Had a really nice 63-yard touchdown run this weekend. The Raiders are playing very good. The Giants are playing decent, but the run game is not there. Their offensive line is a mess. The run game is just not there. The only time Saquon seems to be getting points is if it's in the passing game. So because of that, I can't blame you if you trade Saquon away for Josh Jacobs.
Oh, you're gonna agree with me? Because I
don't like it, but yeah.
Josh Jacobs is 4th overall for running backs right now. And he is consistent. He's reliable. And he's one of my go-tos at running back.
And their interim coach, Pierce, one of the things he said is, we want to get back to committing to the run. They were not doing that very well, and Jacobs is still 6th. But he's
not 6th. He's 4th.
4th, sorry. And they have ran the ball more these past 3 games, I think it's been with Pierce, 3 or 4. So because of that, I think I have to side with the Jacobs side on this. So if you're trading for Jacobs,
in my opinion, this is a definite upgrade.
Yep. Well, we agree. That's unusual when it comes to Josh Jacobs.
I thought you were going to be a no.
I like Saquon, but I have Saquon in multiple leagues, and the rushing is not there. The passing is the only way he's getting a lot of points. He didn't this past week. 2 weeks ago, he did. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, but this last week he didn't. So because of that inconsistency, Jacobs is going to get fed. They're going to feed him the ball.
They are feeding him.
Yeah. So he's, this thing. My mother said she does not like when the football players do that, but they're going to keep feeding him. So
they're getting fed.
so yeah, I agree. My dad said, use the gavel, Miranda. 4th, not 6th. It's behind you, I believe.
Why did you put it behind me?
That's where you put it at the end of the show and you forgot to grab it. So let's not blame me for this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. No whiskey.
But no, you set up for our podcast though.
No whiskey history for
you don't want to
today.
even go into it. Fine. We won't argue to end the show. Put your cane down.
No,
you old man.
No whiskey history for today. We'll talk a lot of whiskey tomorrow. Make sure you join us for that. Make sure you join us Thursday for start sits. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, let's go Bears.
Go Bears. That's what I was going to add. Yeah, that's all we got. And my old fashioned.
I have some catching up to do.
You can do it. Mine was painkiller. Going once, going twice.
Sold.
Old-fashioned football.